Well, this is great. I think Milt would be really proud right now. He really would be. I want to start off this way. I get asked time and again, well, Dr. Haas, President Haas, T. Haas, how's things going at the university? I said to these folks most recently, we are going in the right direction. And this is just an example of what I mean by going in the right direction. We are creating a university that's making a difference in people's lives. We're making a difference in the society upon which those young people, and maybe some of the not so young people, are going to go out into our nation, state, and world and make a difference. We're going to do that because we have had colleagues like Milt Ford. He has made a difference at this university in his very quiet yet persistent way to create the learning environment that will help students succeed, and in turn, help us all understand what it means to be a people, a family, a community of Lakers. And that's what it's all about today. We're recognizing him with this center that will have his name on it, but we're recognizing the legacy of an individual. And one individual, one person at a time, can make that difference. That's what leadership is all about. Leadership is making that difference for others. And in this case, such a positive way. And I'm so pleased because I got to meet him early on 8.5 years ago. And we had some conversations about the direction that we needed to go, that right direction. As I say time and again to people now, we're heading in the right direction. And I do enjoy seeing this image of Milt too. That's a perfect depiction of him. It truly is. And so what we are doing today is recognizing that legacy. You'll hear from others coming up here that may know him a little bit better than I, but I got to know him in those first meetings because I knew that his heart was here at Grand Valley. His persistence on creating this environment was clear and unambiguous. And it's opening up the world to all of us. So when we look at our mission to shape student lives, he did it and will continue to do so with this center, which has his name. So thank you and welcome, and I appreciate you all being here as we celebrate Milton Ford. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Wendy Wenner. I'm the acting vice president for inclusion and equity, but I have a long history with Milt. We were in the English department together and then walked alongside with you, so many of you, and Milt to try to get the center formed and established. And at one time, it was in his office in the Brooks College in Lake Ontario Hall, and we just added a nameplate underneath that said Milt Ford, LGBT resources. so I mean, that's the determination he had. Okay, if it's not starting, I'm starting it myself, and we're going to do it. And we had, and he was always there for students. One time when we started doing workload for faculty, I had to, I was asking faculty what their workload was, and when I got to Milt's, I had to write down 135%. Because he was teaching 3 classes, he was director of the center, he was advising students, he was advisor to Out and About, so fairly, I put down on his list 135%. So, but he worked long and hard to have this center, and I think that the importance of space is one thing that he understood, that in order to feel that you're part of a community, there needs to be a space for you in that community. And I think a lot of you who also have experienced being in a marginalized situation in relationship to communities, you understand that it's hard to stand on the outside, it's hard to be there looking in, it's hard to be struggling to assimilate or be recognized for the diversity, that perspective that you can bring to the work. And it's hard to understand what it would be like to be in a community where you really mattered. And that's one thing that Milt understood very much, that the center needed to be a symbol for the fact that LGBT, IQ people at the university really need to know that they matter. And a visible symbol is very important for marginalized groups. So he made that the symbol, and it's not only the symbol of what's going on inside Grand Valley, but it's a symbol of the whole way that the university looks at our culture, the things that matter to us, the things that we care about. It's a symbol to the world outside. It's a symbol to the nation, because we're one of the people that has a really big and vibrant LGBT community and a vibrant center. So it's very important for Grand Valley because people recognize us as a leader in this area. And when I used to recruit faculty for positions, this is one of the things that they brought up. They said, this center, this LGBT center, tells me that Grand Valley cares about all people, that they believe that all people should be included. So it's very important, this visible center that Milt formed, and he knew that. He always knew that. That's why he never gave up on it until he got it. So I want to just, I guess, publicly thank Milt for, he was a very kind, gentle, and a patient person. Sometimes I would say, Milt, can't you just get mad about this? Well, if you know him, you know that that didn't happen. He would just be telling me to calm down, please. So patience and perseverance pays off, and it paid off in this center, and it's really delight to me to see that this center is named for Milt, and that legacy will always be his, and we will remember him and the things that he cared about and the things that he did for Grand Valley in making sure that we had this center for all of us, because it's not just for the LGBT people at the community, it's for everybody, and as President Haas said, it opens up the community to everybody. It helps us all learn and grow and change, and it's so important. I want to mention one more thing. About, 10 years ago, maybe we started LGBT scholarship, and it's been a wonderful endowment, and we've given out lots of scholarship, but also it was one of the fastest growing scholarships in the university because people cared about including LGBT people. So I just want to let you know that we have another opportunity for you, and that's the LGBT Center endowment that we have to support the center. And we hope that that endowment will grow and provide funds for the center, and will also help to keep the center going into perpetuity. So I'm going to introduce Gary Harn. He's going to talk a little bit more about that. So Gary, thank you, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Wendy. Milt would be so embarrassed and so pleased. A few weeks before he died, Milt told me that he had started an endowment fund for the center. I was completely surprised and really pleased to hear this, as he hadn't mentioned it before. But I knew the need was great. I asked him what his intention was for this fund, and he said, "I intend to endow it." I was somewhat taken aback by this statement, and I asked what that meant specifically. So he named a figure, and after swallowing my gum, I said, "And when were you planning on telling me this, honey?" So he was already too weak to laugh at that point, but he gave me his best guilty little boy look and smiled. Regardless, I promised him that I would take care of this. Milt was no stranger to finances, and he knew that while it was one thing to get the center up and running, it is quite another to fund it. So it has become my charge to endow the fund for the center, and I am pledging a personal gift of $15,000 to the LGBT Resource Center Endowment Fund, and I challenge each of you to step up and join me in continuing to build upon the legacy of this endowment that Milt started in 2008. Thank you. And for those of you who are GVSU faculty and staff, remember that your gifts to this fund are eligible for the presidential match. And so the value of your gift is doubled. How great is that? Okay? And on your way out today after the ceremony, there will be a commemorative book with a gift form inside the book, so you can take that with you on your way out the door. You can also donate on the Resource Center's homepage. There's a donate button right at the top, takes you right to Development's website. It's very easy. Okay, so that's business. Milton knew what he was good at and what he was not. He once told me that while it may be true that he was the only one who could have gotten the center up and running, Colette was the only one who could run it. If Milt was proud of the center, he was every bit as proud of the new director that he'd hired. It is my honor to introduce one of Milt's best hires and dearest friends, our director extraordinaire, Colette Sagan Beagley.
Thank you, Gary. What a happy day. I'm so excited. And I would like to acknowledge that we have President Emeritus Don Lubbers in our presence. Thank you very much for joining us, President Lubbers. Now, Gary made me cry, so I can't see what I wrote. We are here today to honor the vision and legacy of Dr. Milt Ford. If Milt were here, though, he would want us to acknowledge that no one does this work alone. Our center, which enjoys a space right out in front in Kirchhoff, is here as a result of the support from the LGBT Faculty and Staff Association, the Dean of Students Office, and from the highest levels of our Grand Valley State University administration. In addition to that, we recognize that all the work that Milt completed was done with the support of his partner, Gary Van Harn. Gary, thank you for your years of vision, strategy, cheerleading, and generosity. Please join me in thanking Milt's partner extraordinaire, Gary Van Harn. I would also like to take a moment to recognize our amazing staff, so please wave your hands and let us see where you are. Carrie Simmons, Program Coordinator. Emily West, LGBT Coordinator. And Scott Burden, our Graduate Assistant. I'd also like to recognize the members of our LGBT Resource Center Advisory Committee. Could you please wave your hands and let us know where you are? Thank you. Nearly a decade ago, when my son first came out, I looked to Grand Valley for help and hope in navigating this new chapter for my family's life. At that time, there was nothing available on Grand Valley's website. Yet, something extremely important was happening on this campus. Milt Ford, who would become one of my dearest friends, was working quietly yet tenaciously to create a center for our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer students. Whether it was in the classroom or in his office or in the center, Milt was an openly gay man who embraced his identity, often at great personal cost. However, in doing so, Milt created space for others, especially our students. As we continue to celebrate the joyous space Milt helped create on this campus, please join me in watching this video. But there may be more people in this room than we thought would attend, so right now you're going to have to do a little jockeying for position so you can see these TV screens.
Resource Center for me is another home away from home. It's a place that I can go and have people that I can relate to and people to talk to. And it's actually the only place on campus that I've made friends.
I stretch my hands out to the sky. We dance with monsters through the night. Whoa.
The LGBT Resource Center is really a symbol at Grand Valley. It tells students and faculty who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender that they're valued here, that they're wanted here, and that their identities matter.
This is gonna be the best day of my life.
The Resource Center, to me, as a freshman, was a good way to make friends with people who had similar experiences and kind of understood what it was like to be a queer student in an area that isn't really known for being entirely queer-friendly. So it was a good way for me to network and meet other people with like minds and similar interests.
I howled at the moon with friends, and then the sun came crashing in. Whoa, oh, 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 oh.
The LGBT Resource Center is kind of like the lightning bolt of GVSU's campus for queer and gender non-conforming and or trans students. I think that they're an integral part of the community, and you can't walk past Kirkhoff without noticing that immediately. They really are great about integrating themselves into Grand Valley's campus, but also being revolutionarily loving towards members of the LGBT community. So it means a lot to me.
This is gonna be the best day of my
I'm so proud every day to walk into this center and to participate in the work that our founding director, Dr. Milton E. Ford, envisioned. He always held a dream for a space our students could occupy just for them, where they could live their authentic lives, where they could be safe and be nurtured. And today we are actually continuing his dream in the work that we do, not only creating safety within this space, but also educating the greater campus community to further embrace the values of Grand Valley State University.
This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. Everything is looking up, everybody up now. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life.
So much happiness. And we continue Milt's vision and legacy in the programs and services of the Milton E. Ford LGBT Resource Center. Today, in our first-year Queer Alliance and Loud and Queer programs, we serve nearly 100 students weekly. Our programs and services are structured to meet the developmental needs of our students from the first day they walk on campus until their graduation. We receive over 2,500 walk-ins to the center each year and over 10,000 unique visitors to our website on an annual basis. Over 500 members of the Greek community have received ally training, and over 400 faculty, staff, students, and community members have participated in our Change U social justice training. And this is just part of what Milt helped create. As Gary said, we have a memento for you to take when you leave today that celebrates Milt's vision and legacy on our campus and speaks more to the deep impact that he left. Even though our dear friend is gone, Milt continues to give us the gift of visibility. In order to honor the passing of their beloved professor, generations of Milt students, many of whom are here today, have reconnected with Grand Valley. And as a result, in September, Grand Valley State University chartered a new LGBT alumni chapter. Could the executive committee please raise their hands? I hope that before you leave today, you will tour the center that Milt built Staff and students are available to answer your questions. The Queer Your Mind shirts that were featured in the video, the Way Cool Queer Your Mind shirts, will be available for sale in the center as well. We also invite you to partner with us in ensuring that MILT's legacy continues by supporting the LGBT Resource Center Endowment. Thank you so much for joining us to honor a truly great man, great mentor, great friend. And I want you to know we are deeply committed to continuing the work that MILT started. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Provost and Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs, Gail Davis, to facilitate the ribbon cutting.
Is this ever wonderful? If you're going to have a song worm keep going around in your head, isn't the best day of your life like the best song worm? This is very cool. Well, students are prepared to help us with the ribbon cutting, so could you please come up and take your places? This sounds like a race or something, but it's not. And as they get started unrolling the ribbon, would all of the ribbon cutters please join me right in back of the ribbon here? In honor of Bill Ford, it is my absolute pleasure to rename and cut the ribbon for his LGBT Center. Let's do it.